Hello everyone and welcome to this week's behind the scenes devlog video, and this week I'm going to be finishing off the last few tasks on my to-do list before release. I've got a little bit of work to do on the audio system, a few final bugs and improvements to do, and I'm also going to be doing a bit of work on the website. So first up this week I'm working on a new options menu for Equilinox, and I did actually do some of this last week, so there's not too much left to do. But one thing that I've never implemented into the game was the possibility to play the game in full screen. So that's what I've been starting off with today, and that's now working. You can now display the game in full screen mode, so I'm just going to add that into the options menu. So I have now finished creating a very simple options panel for the game, and you can see it here. So you can choose the display size, you can choose the language, and then over here you've got a few graphical settings. You can choose a preset if you want, or you can individually select which effects you want to have on or off, and when you do that you can see that it changes to saying custom here. One o'clock now, just made myself a quick lunch and I'm going to stop for my lunch break in a second, but to finish off the morning I was just doing a quick bit of modelling, making the young versions for this new tree that I made a couple of weeks ago, and I've just been getting that loaded up into the game. This afternoon I'm working my way through a few movement glitches, and for the last hour I've just been concentrating on the movement of the duck, because there were a few obvious bugs to do with that, especially if you interrupted its eating animation. Sometimes it would get stuck upside down and just would never move again until it died, and sometimes it would be able to move around but it would still be upside down, which obviously looks a bit strange, so I've just been fixing those things. For the rest of the afternoon today, I've just been continuing to upload all of my tutorials to the ThinMatrix website, as I've been doing over the last few weeks. But I'm going to stop for the evening now because a couple of friends are coming over in a bit and we're going to try and make some summer rolls together for dinner. It is 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning, and today I've just got one thing planned for the whole day, which is to work on the audio system for the sound effects and the music in Equilinox. Still a few things that I need to improve with that, and there are also a couple of glitches that happen occasionally which have been annoying me, so hopefully today I can fix all of that and get the audio system completely finished. So it's coming up to 6 o'clock in the evening now, and all day today I've just been working on the audio system, and it's been going pretty well. I made quite a lot of changes, mostly to the code, which is why I didn't really have anything to film today. But I was mainly working on the ambient sound effects. Those are like the background sound effects that you hear in different parts of the world to add a bit of atmosphere to the game. And I made quite a few improvements, fixed a lot of the issues that I was having with them, and redid quite a lot of the codes for that system so that it works a bit better. So apart from one more thing that I need to do later this week, the audio system for Equilinox is now pretty much finished. So this evening I'm actually going to a game development event which is taking place nearby, and I've actually never been to one of these before, but this one's happening pretty close to where I live, so I thought I'd go and check it out.
Good morning everyone, it is 7:45 on Wednesday morning, and today I thought I'd get outside and go for a quick bike ride before I get started. And it's quite a nice morning, so I decided to come to this park here and grab some breakfast here today.
So the plan for today is basically just more bug fixing and polishing, and I've already got started with a couple of things so far this morning. So firstly, someone sent me an email saying that one of the tasks in the game wasn't recognising when you've met the requirements for it, so I just had to sort that out. And then secondly, I've been working on an issue to do with the text system, to do with the encoding of characters that have accents and umlauts and all those exciting things, and that's all working now as well. Next up today, just fixing a few more animal movement glitches. So for example, when you put the game on fast speed, sometimes the foxes sink into the terrain, so I've just been fixing that. But now I'm going to stop for my lunch break, and I'm also going to pop to the shops quickly to get some new plants for my flats, because I once again accidentally killed some of mine. Usually I don't give them enough water, so this time I think I kind of overcompensated, and accidentally drowned it. So I'll try not to do that next time. Not a whole load to show you this afternoon. I think the only interesting thing was that I added a few more animal sound effects into the game, and this week it was the turn of the wild boar. But I really am right at the end of my to-do list now, so it's only tiny little bug fixes and tweaks left to do, apart from one big thing that I need to do tomorrow. But other than that, I really am pretty much done now. Today I've got one final thing to do with the audio system, which is to switch over to using OGG files for the sound effects, because at the moment I'm just using WAV files and their file size is very big. It's about 10 times bigger than OGG files. So before I add the 30+ minute soundtrack into the game, I want to switch to a more compressed file type. And I'm hoping that I'm just going to be able to find a library online that can load up OGG files into Java, and hopefully I won't have to write it all from scratch myself. 10:15 and I've had some success already. I found a library online called JOrbis which can help with loading these files, and I also found an example implementation provided online, and using that and some of my own codes I've managed to get a simple example of loading and playing an OGG file. So I've very nearly got this working in the game now. The regular sound effects are working fine. The music's also working fine. It's just the longer sound effects in the game, the ones that aren't all loaded up at once, they're streamed in, like the birds in the background here. There's a strange kind of crackling glitch that you might be able to hear. It sounds kind of like footsteps in the background, and obviously that shouldn't be happening. So I just have to fix that, but I think I'm pretty close to getting this working now. It is coming up to 6 o'clock now, and it's a bit of a disaster. I found out what causes the problem, although I have no idea why this causes a problem. So basically the problem happens when two OGG files are streaming at the same time, and I was hoping that it was something wrong with what I'd done, but I tried it with the really simple example that I found on the internet earlier, the one that I showed you at the beginning, and even when I try and play two OGG files at the same time with that, I still have the crackling sound effect, as you can hear. So I don't really know what to do. I guess I'm going to have to try and work out what all this code that I found on the internet does, and how exactly it loads the OGG files, which I didn't really want to have to do. I thought I could just get it working without having to learn about it all, but I guess I'm going to have to try and work this out, or find some other way to load them. 10 o'clock now, and it's been a very frustrating evening. I haven't really found a solution to the problem. I've been searching online a lot, and a couple of other people have had the exact same problem as me, but there doesn't really seem to be a fix. Some other people have said that it should work fine, so I don't really know what's going on there. So I think for now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use OGG files for the music in Equilinox, so that way only one OGG file will be playing at a time anyway, so I won't have the crackling problem. And I'll just keep using WAV files for the other sound effects for now, until I find a fix for this issue. And the music in the game makes up like 95% of the sound data anyway, so it's still going to be a big improvement in terms of file size, but yeah, it's just a shame about the other sound effects. So first up today, I've just been finishing off the audio stuff, and I've returned all the sound effects to the WAV file formats, and I'm now just using the OGG file format for the music. But that does mean that I can now finally add all of the entire soundtrack into the game, because previously I was just using one song because of the file size, but now I can finally add all of the music from the soundtrack into the game. And also, when you quit the game, the music now fades out nicely. So now that I'm done with the audio stuff, I can get back to work on some bug fixes, and I've just been doing some UI work to do with the slider component here. So when the pointer, the thing that you grab, is right the way over to one side, half of the pointer is actually outside the bounds of the component, so when you click on it, it doesn't register, and you don't grab it, which is a bit frustrating. So I've fixed that now, and you can see that it's working fine. For the rest of the morning, I've just been doing a bit of website work, getting a few more tutorials uploaded, making a few icons, and planning out some of the other content that's going to be going onto the website soon. But I'm going to stop and make myself some lunch in a second, and then this afternoon I'm just going to be editing the devlog video. Seven o'clock in the evening now, nothing particularly exciting to report this afternoon. As I said, I was just doing the editing for the video, but I'm going to stop for the evening now. 11:30 on Saturday morning, and so far today I've just been doing editing, but I'm going to stop in a bit because this afternoon I'm going with a friend to some garden place. I'll put some footage of it in the background here. But for this week, that's pretty much going to be it. Next week I'm going to be working on a few graphical improvements and optimizing the engine, getting everything ready for release. And speaking of release, I just wanted to give you a quick update about when that's likely to be. So at the moment, the limiting factor is actually getting the Steam page set up, because before I can do that I need to sort out some stuff with my bank, and that's been taking a little bit longer than expected. I actually need to go back to England to sign some papers at the bank in person, so I'm going to be flying to England in a couple of weeks to get all that sorted out, and then once that's done I can start setting up the Steam page. And as soon as that's set up, I'll be able to release the game. So we've got to wait a bit for that, but in the meantime I've still got plenty of polishing and balancing and marketing to do. For this week though, that is it, so thank you guys very much for watching this video. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next time.